Sharon Stone coming to Kevin Spacey's defense. This is not the first time she's come to his defense, but she is basically saying people need to forgive him and let him move on with his life. Let him re-enter Hollywood. Welcome to the Hollywood Raw podcast. I'm Dax Holt. Over there's Adam Glyn. Today is a Friday episode, which means we're doing the Raw Rundown. We're getting you caught up on all things entertainment news. Make sure you're going into the weekend feeling informed, that you know every single detail about every single big celebrity out there. That is our job here, and we are going to do it. We got quite the list made up for you today. But these lists, like Adam always says, they're not just what we think is exciting. It is what data thinks is exciting, what people are clicking on, what the top stories are around the world. And so sometimes it's not even a huge celeb that makes the news. It's just something big has happened. The world is talking about it. And so we need to make sure that you're informed of it. Good morning, Adam. How are you, buddy?
Good morning, Dax. It's so funny. So when I go to let's just say a barbecue, for example, I always try my conversation to tee off a good conversation and bring up something in Hollywood or entertainment world. I don't know if you do that. That's my go-to move. That's part of my my material. I always go to it. So it's hey, what's going on? So I feel like the stories we go over are good conversational topics for you to start a conversation with someone at your summer barbecue. If you go somewhere, you don't know someone, you don't know what to talk about. I feel like these topics, these stories are a good mutual thing that we all kind of BS about. It's only embarrassing when the person goes, I don't care. And I'm like, oh God. And then I'm just there we go. Then we have nothing in common. I walk away sad.
So that's my thing, because obviously my other business, Trophy Smack, is it's so much in the sports world. People automatically think oh, huge sports fan. So they'll be like, hey, so did you see the big trade that the Dodgers did? And I'm like, and I'm like, how do I get out of this conversation real fast? Oh yeah, well I saw, Shohei, and I try to make shit up. But if you want to talk celebrities, I'm game. And then I know my facts and my details. I can't talk baseball. I know shit about baseball.
Yeah. No, I can talk baseball, but only Yankees. If you can bring me some guy that's going on the Padres, I'm like, dude, I go put on Sports Center. I have nothing. But these topics that we're going to go over are great. I just know kind of what's going on in the entertainment world. And Dax and I probably have had problems over the years. It's it was hard to prove to people that we're not gay because we know so much about this stuff. But it's just what we kind of retain. We all love the high school Hollywood gossip. And Dax and I are two gossip journalists, but more than gossip journalists, we kind of break entertainment news. We don't put out blind items. I mean, the stuff we do is, we did a lot. And actually, one of the stories we broke. And we'll get into that on today's Raw Rundown. Before we get to the top 10 stories of the week, we love reviews. We love them so much. We read them live on air to give you guys a shout out. So you guys get, you can see if we mention your name on the podcast. Yeah, exactly. We want to give you your flowers. That's the cool, trendy thing to say.
All right, so this one comes from There Be Max, 5 stars. It is titled Not to Miss Podcast. 5-star podcast. I've been listening to Hollywood Raw every Friday for months, and it is Not to Miss Podcast. Best way to get your hot celebrity stories. Dax and Adam are funny and knowledgeable while presenting in a clear, concise style. Midweek is excellent and really enjoyable when it's a smart celebrity insider. Love the celebrity divorce lawyer episode. I typically fast forward over the review portion, but maybe now I'll listen to see if mine makes it on air. Love you guys. All right, well, hopefully There Be Max did not skip today's review portion because they get their little shout out today. Thank you. Appreciate the time and great review. You actually took quite a long time to write this. I really, really appreciate it.
Very much appreciate it. There Be Max. Hopefully you didn't fast forward or skip towards this part of the podcast because I want to make sure you got your flowers. Let's get into our Raw Rundown, the top 10 stories of the week. Again, thank you to There Be Max for the review. Our sponsor today is Nobody. Shout out to them. And
we might have one in. Don't say that.
I'm kidding. No, we got a sponsor. No, but thank you guys for the reviews. Keep them coming. And if you already did a review, kind of take your partner, your friend, your colleague's phone, give them a review, say a few kind, funny words, nice words, and we'll read your review live on air. Let's get into the Raw Rundown, starting with number 10.
All right. Vanna White speaking up, breaking her silence on the rumors that there is a feud between her and the new host, Ryan Seacrest. So there was a story that was going around this week where after Pat Sajak left Wheel of Fortune, that her and Ryan Seacrest were just not getting along. You know, I mean, listen, this was a long-time partnership between Vanna and Pat Sajak. I think that's also already got to be hard to deal with, that separation. 40 years of them doing a television show, together, and then a new person comes in. There's already going to be a little bit of tension, but this story actually kind of struck me a little strange that she and Ryan would have beef. But anyway, she came out and she put up a photo of her and Ryan out they're together, and basically just said, like, we're good, enjoying one of our favorites, chicken and dumplings, friends on camera and off. And so I think that clears up the rumors that they are having some kind of feud. I wouldn't be surprised if the people behind Wheel of Fortune leaked something out. So the reason I say that was because there was a lot of press that Ryan and Kelly Ripa got. If you remember, right when they started working together, tons of press because it was they're not getting along, and there is drama, there's beef, and everyone tuned in to watch how they reacted together on the show. So I don't know if they kind of took a play out of that book and said, okay, here's a new one. Let's put that out there and see if people tune in to see if there's any drama or tension between the two of them. And she quickly squashed it.
Yeah, it's simple show business move. You want to see the chemistry, obviously, with Kelly and Ryan. I mean, I don't think there is beef. And Ryan. I know Ryan a little bit, but Ryan. Ryan's not a guy you really have beef with. There's no reason to have beef. Now, some people would say that Vanna might have been a little jealous, or it might have been weird regarding she could have got that role as the main host rather than stay in her position, or with the price, her pay compared to Pat Sajak's pay. But Ryan, he has nothing to do with that. He's just his own guy. He's a nice guy. He works hard. I don't think there's an ego.
Yeah, I think he's very professional, and I think he's been on a lot of big shows that are like ensemble, I would say, cast or hosts. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with American Idol, think of all the personalities that you have to deal with all throughout the years. Everyone has always said they loved working with Ryan. He's a good dude. He shows up on time. He knows what he's doing. Live TV is not easy, and he has always throughout the years done a great job at it. So did I believe it? No. Could I have seen the drama between him and Kelly Ripa? I could have seen that one a little bit more than him with Vanna White.
Yeah, no, I think this was just PR to kind of build up the show. People want to see them going, like, performing. They're both professionals, and I don't think there's anything between them. I don't think they wanted to act, and I think they're both smart enough where they didn't have to speak about it so quick. Let the rumors go, because we all know the truth. Let's get people watching the show. So I think overall, smart move, smart business. Am I excited for the show? I think Ryan's going to do a great job. What's good about Ryan is what a good host does. They don't make the show. He's not going to make the show himself. He's just going to keep the show moving along. And, the Wheel of Fortune is about the game. It's not about him. And I think he's the perfect person to kind of do that kind of position. Plus, it also works out for his schedule. He could bang out a bunch of episodes, not work every day. He's the man. So I'm glad that that imaginary beef between them is non-existent. So, all right, Dax, number 9.
Number 9, Nicki Minaj getting more fans pissed off at her. So she's had another issue about one of her concerts. Basically, she had a concert in Dublin, and she was apparently 90 minutes late to it, performed for less than an hour, and had multiple costume changes that would take like 10 to 15 minutes to do. And so the fans were pissed. Super pissed off at her. She was supposed to be on stage at like 8 p.m. but didn't get out there till 10 p.m. But so I thought, did they not have like an opening act? Like, why were so like that's celebs do that all the time. They don't come out for, they say they're going on at 8, they don't really, and then they have like an opening act or whatever. But it sounds like doors opened at like 4 p.m. So people were there for hours and hours and hours. And then finally she came out. They had a lot of her fans, 20,000 fans, by the way, had been waiting in the rain at an outdoor venue. And so when she gets on super late and then takes these big old long costume changes and performs for less than an hour, people are like, what the hell? We just paid 90 euros for this ticket and we waited longer for you than you actually performed. And so they were ripping her apart on social media, saying what a disgrace it was. They were hitting up Ticketmaster, saying that they wanted their money back, that this was unacceptable. But if you remember, this is like, she's had numerous issues with concerts recently. Remember the one where she got detained and what was it, Amsterdam or something? She got detained and couldn't even go to the show and ended up canceling it. Maybe it was Manchester, not Amsterdam, where she got detained by cops and they let the concert still essentially go on. And then once everyone was there at the venue, then they canceled it. And everyone's like, you could have like told us so that we didn't show up to the concert and then it gets canceled. So
people
anyway.
have the right to be pissed off. And, when you spend a lot of money for these concerts, you would think of all things you get on stage at the right time. I mean, Guns N' Roses was famous for showing up to their shows insanely late. Plus, if you're a musician, there is union fees. So you have to end the show by a certain time or else you're going to have to pay the fees of overtime for the people working on the stage, to people working at the arena or stadium you're working at.
Or sometimes the neighborhood that the arena's in doesn't allow music past, 11 p.m. or whatever it is. And so they'll shut you down at that time. So if you get on super late, the arena's like, we can't keep you going. So you show up on time.
Yeah, I had a friend. And also, to be honest with you, concerts are so expensive now, Dax. Like, so expensive. I was just having a conversation the other day. Like, who would I actually pay to go see? And there's very, very few people I would pay to go see. Now, if you gave me tickets to go to the show, I would go. But I wouldn't go out of my way
to see then?
You really want to? It's actually 2 people, which is kind of sad right now. Craig David. Yeah, Craig David. Actually, I actually did see him recently, and he gave me a free ticket. But his tickets are cheap, so I don't have to worry about that. Like I don't mind spending if I have to pay $40 to go see him do a show. So his tickets are cheap. But the 2 people I would see that I would pay to go see are very weird. It's Bruce Springsteen,
okay,
and Jack Johnson.
Okay. I'm not balking at either one of those.
Thank you. I appreciate you not yelling at me for that. I was waiting for you to give me shit about it. But who would you pay to go see?
Ex-ambassadors.
Really? You got you're like AJR. You'd be like that.
I love them. See, I paid for AJR. I looked for ex-ambassador concert tickets the other day, but like because of our trip to Spain, it didn't work out. But it's one of those ones I'm like, don't have a contact. I don't care. I need to go see them live.
Interesting. Yeah.
I love them.
Bruce Springsteen is like just Jersey. He's great. There's only so many times I'm going to see him. And he puts on a long show, which I love. And Jack Johnson is just like a vibe to me. It's a good show. It's a concert where I don't have to stand up the entire time. And I don't have to hear the person next to me sing the song. I mean, that's the worst thing about these concerts. You go to these concerts to see, like, for example, Dave Matthews Band was playing around the area last night. And I've seen Dave Matthews Band perform so many times. I love Dave Matthews Band. The problem with going to see Dave Matthews Band is that the guy next to you who cleans pools is singing louder right in your ear. And I'm hearing him sing instead of Dave Matthews sing. I'm like, dude, shut up. Let him sing. This is why I pay, so. But yeah, I had a friend of mine who went to go see Janet Jackson the other night, and they were disappointed. They said she only did pretty much she didn't do the entire song. She just did like clips of every song, which I don't know if it's good or bad, but they said that the performance seemed very quick. Like it wasn't like a long show.
Yeah. So there's other people that I would love to see their concert if it wasn't so expensive. I'd love to see some of the really, really big acts like Rolling Stones or Madonna or like any of these people that, that you're not going to get concerts from them for the rest of life. And how cool to be able to say, I went to a Rolling Stones concert. You know what I'm saying? And be there. But I'm not dropping $500 on a ticket. Like, it's just not happening. So
Yeah.
that's the only thing that sucks. So
No, I get it. I'm with you. Dax, number 8.
number 8, Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. It, like, the never-ending drama between these two. Do you realize they've been hashing out their divorce for 8 years?
8 years they've been trying to get. They broke up 8 years ago, and they're trying to hash out. So they're still married to each other.
I guess
How does that work? I guess they're separated, but they're trying to get divorced.
Just estranged at this point.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't
it's
know
not.
what they are.
I don't know. I don't
8
know their
years they've been trying to
technical status at the moment, but yeah, it's 8 years of this divorce being settled, which is just so dumb. But basically, the big story this week is that Brad Pitt has, quote unquote, virtually no contact with his adult children, but still has visitation with the younger kids. And she honestly gets them most of the time, so he doesn't get to see them that much. But this is just a really sad story. I mean, we've talked about it before, how a lot of his children, the older ones, are now dropping his last name. We talked about how Shiloh, she turned 18 and dropped his last name. And, and I think that hurt him a lot. He does know, or he obviously had heard the stories, and he's pretty hurt by it. But one of those people in their camp is basically talking to People Magazine and said he virtually has no contact with the adult kids. His engagement with the younger kids is more limited in recent months because of his filming schedule. They have 6 kids together. If you remember, 3 biological children, Shiloh and the twins. But they also have 3 adopted children, Maddox, Pax, and Zahara. But though Maddox, Pax, and Zahara, she's 19, and the other 2 are 20 and 22. And a part of this visitation agreement that they have been dealing with, it allows him to see the 2 little ones. But that's kind of it. Shiloh clearly has made it obvious that she does not want to be around him. That is the reason she dropped the last name. And so the whole thing is sad, in my opinion. Just a really sad, unfortunate story, because I know he wanted children so bad. And he's even said the day that my daughter was born was one of the happiest days of my life, because I wanted a daughter so bad, and I got her, and now he's essentially lost her.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. 8 years they've been trying to get divorced. Does this change your opinions on Brad Pitt?
On Brad?
Yeah. And Angelina.
So, you know what? Honestly, dude, I wish I just knew what the truth was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, this is the one story that I feel like if I had your superpower that you talked about, where you just knew the truth, this would be the one I would use it on, because I want to know what is the details. Like, did his drinking rip the family apart, or has this divorce poisoned the family to a point where she speaks badly and now the kids don't want to be around him? Like, I don't know what the case is. So I would love to know.
Like, what's gonna make this divorce be complete? How is it gonna be finished? I mean, when one of Brad's kids takes away his last name, Pitt, I mean, that's gonna be a punch to his stomach. That's gonna be a hard blow.
That is a stab to the heart.
Brad Pitt's what, 60 years old?
Something like that, yeah.
Did you see the photos of him this past week hanging out with his new girlfriend? They're at like a Grand Prix event. Again, we talked about this the other day, and I would just want to know. I don't judge. I don't care if he had plastic surgery. I don't care if he takes testosterone. Tell me what you do, just so I'm just educated in it, because he just looks he looks insane. He looks incredible. You know,
I don't know how the dude just doesn't age. You know who else doesn't age? Carmen Electra. Holy crap!
You love Carmen Electra.
Well, did you see the photos of her at that like Baywatch event like a couple days ago?
Yeah, I did. You know, think
unfreaking believable. Like she looks like she hasn't aged a day. And I'm not saying like they have a bunch of the cast members there, but you can tell the other cast members, are a little bit older, and she doesn't look like she's changed. It's wild.
Yeah, Carmen Electra is one of those people. I question what she does for money. Like, how does she pay her bills?
Probably appearances.
Do you ever think about that?
I really don't know.
Do you think she's still making appearances?
I got to imagine that's how she makes her money, right? Like, didn't we tried to get her once on, well, a couple times, tried to get her on the podcast, and they were like, okay, how much do you pay? And we're like, we are poor, we don't pay for interviews.
Yeah.
So
But who was
we
actually
never got
paying her
her
to
on.
come? I don't know how many people are paying her to come on their podcast or doing interviews. Again, life is expensive. I'm always curious how people pay their bills, and Carmen Electra is one of those people. Like, are you okay? How do you afford to kind of live? How do you afford to kind of live that lifestyle that she's living?
And for all these years, because money runs out for a lot of people. And it goes away quickly, especially if you're not doing anything. I was going to say, remember how we've talked about how people stay looking young? Did you see Kim Kardashian's story this week?
Oh, what was that? Wait, are we going on to our next story?
No. We were just talking about how Carmen Electra hasn't aged and Brad Pitt hasn't aged. And then Kim Kardashian revealed one of the things that she does to like kind of hold back time. And that is a salmon sperm facial.
Ooh, sounds tasty. Is this like a thing?
It's apparently a thing, and it's been a thing because even Jennifer Aniston has admitted that this is one of the big things that she uses to keep her skin looking young and all this. But Kim was on one of the recent episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, or I'm sorry, The Kardashians is what it's called now. She told her mom, I got a salmon sperm facial with salmon sperm injected into my face. And Jen has also said the same thing. She told like Wall Street Journal back in August 2023 that an anesthetician had introduced her to salmon sperm facials, and she's loving them. I guess. Let me read a little bit more. It says studies show it improves skin hydration, plumpness, texture, and wrinkles, all thanks to high DNA levels loaded in amino acids. So there you go. Go find.
Would you try it?
Go find it. Well, do you have to actually find a salmon and have it sperm on your face?
I think they find the salmon for you. You know, I would like to see the salmon before it's injected in my face. Actually, I want to make eye contact with the salmon when it's injected in my face.
So it involves microneedling to ensure the sperm truly penetrates the skin for maximum benefit. So there you go. If you need something to do that's really weird, go get some salmon sperm facial. All right, we got to move on.
I would do it. Number 7, Dax.
Can you just imagine having enough money to do all these dumb fucking things?
That's the wild part about it. That it's just, why not? You know, you say it's good. Why not?
Why not? Let me have salmon sperm. How much is it? 10 grand. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what I had in my budget for facials this year.
But this is always like a trendy thing with celebrities. Like, it's just like, what's the new weird the vampire facial? They did stuff with leeches. I mean, it's just what you do. Dax, number 7.
I wish I had dumb money like that. Okay.
Keep podcasting and you will.
Number 7, Olivia Munn and John Mulaney have married in basically an intimate home wedding ceremony. So they have been together for a couple years now, and they've got a 2-year-old son, Malcolm, that they welcomed back in November of 2021. But yeah, they are now married. There was a lot of rumors whether or not they were married. He had posted a photo a little while back that had him wearing like a silver band on his finger, and everyone was like, oh my God, you guys got married. And then he deleted that photo really fast. But over the weekend in upstate New York is where they got married, and this is People Magazine reported it. And apparently their son was a witness and they're in attendance. I don't know if he walked with the rings or any of that, but he was definitely there. And so people very excited. I don't really have too many more details other than that. But remember, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, underwent a mastectomy, kind of revealed a lot of her health struggles over the last little bit. Yeah. And he was there by her side the whole time. And now they're married.
Mazel tov, John Mulaney and Olivia Munn. I feel like she's been trying to I mean, it sounds weird, but I don't know. In my opinion, I feel like she's been someone who's like been trying to marry someone in the industry for a long time. It just... I don't know for sure, but like it just makes sense. Like she's a funny person. It's a good person for her to kind of be with. He's a good-looking guy, funny, obviously. But again, she seems like the type of person who I do respect how she came out with her breast diagnosis, whatever. It was after the Academy Awards and she was there. But I don't know. For me, I feel like she just wanted to be with a celebrity. I mean, she dated Aaron Rodgers. She was with Aaron Rodgers for like 3 years. I don't know who else she dated, but I don't know. Something about her just, she's cool, very nice, but she plays the game. And good looking girl. They got a cute kid. Happy for them. Number 6, Dex.
Number 6, Kate Beckinsale, finally talking a little bit more about her health issues. If you remember, she has been in and out of the hospital, staying for weeks at a time, and she'd always post these videos of people like, what the hell is going on? Like, why are you in the hospital? Why have you lost so much weight? And she said basically that she was dealing with a lot of grief in her life. She lost her stepfather, and then her mother was dealing with stage 4 cancer. And so she's like, grief took over and burnt a hole in my esophagus to the point where she could not eat. She lost a ton of weight. She wound up in the hospital. And every time she posts a photo or video and people go after her for her weight, she's like, you have no idea what's going on in my life. So like, keep your shit to yourself. They don't like when she does age inappropriate stuff, like when she wears little outfits or big bows in her hair. And so I think she's kind of got to the point where she's tired of listening to people and trolls online. So she basically said, she posted a video and said, let's have a toast for the douchebags. Let's have a toast for the scumbags out there. Yeah. I didn't know. She just kind of goes off on people, and I get it. It's got to be so annoying being a celebrity and you just get criticized for everything all the time on social media.
So, yes, that part's got to stink. Another person, Kate Beckinsale. I haven't seen her in a long time. The first time I saw her, she was probably one of the prettiest actresses I've ever seen. The first time I saw her, now that was years ago. Still very attractive. With that said, she hasn't really worked much.
Yeah.
And I question what she does.
Career, like, for a while, but then it kind of disappeared.
Ever since she got like divorced from her husband, which was years ago, it's like things changed in her career. And then she's gotten kind of like if you follow her on social media, she's gotten a little wacky. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it's gotten a little like strange at times, a little kooky. I don't know. I question her.
I saw her once at the Twilight premiere. I got tickets to go to the Twilight premiere, and this was obviously when that movie was going bonkers. It might have been like movie number 2 or movie number 3. I can't remember, but saw her on the red carpet, and then we were sitting like 3rd row at the theater. And she walked in right up front, right past us, and she was unbelievably beautiful.
Yeah. Very pretty. I just find her to be, lately on social media, it's a little kind of weird and crazy and a little trying too hard when she's like sticking her butt out the window and like mooning cars. It's like, and you put that on social media, I'm like, you're trying too hard. It's a little bit much of an ass. I had a friend of mine who said, like, who knew her, and said she would only leave her house when she had like her makeup team. But it's sort of, if that is true, it's sort of like, man, that sucks. Like, you just can't leave your house because the fear of being criticized by people.
But I think that's for a lot of, sex symbols out there, is you are held to a higher standard where you have to look unbelievable all the time. But remember, I think this is what happened with Pam Anderson. She finally got to the point where she's like, I don't want to be this anymore. And that's why she like went makeup free. And she's like, I'm tired of living to these beauty standards that everyone wants me to be at. I want to live my life. I don't want to wear makeup anymore. I'm going to actually go to a red carpet and not wear makeup, just to kind of say, screw you. I'm not going to live my life how you want me to look.
Yeah. Well, stand up. You're making an impact. All right. Tex, what number are we on? We are number 5.
Number 5, Julia Fox, Kanye West's ex-girlfriend, has apparently come out as a lesbian. At least that's what a lot of people, I think she is trying to say. On Monday, she did this like video that has gone viral on TikTok, and it's basically her. She's doing like a duet, right? Like there's another girl saying, I love seeing a lesbian with their boyfriend. And then it cuts to her saying, hey, that was me. I was that lesbian. And then said, sorry to the boys, won't happen again. So everyone's like, wait, what? Like, you became so famous off of, dating Kanye West, and now you are acknowledging that you're not even going to be dating men anymore. I don't know. She is one of those people that is constantly keeping her name in the headlines, and every day it's something new. And I don't know. What do you think?
So I think first off, I think it's still good news for you because it still means you have a chance because you look like a lesbian. You got that like one who like Home Depot look,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
listen, she says she's been celibate and she's good at keeping her name afloat. She sells her photos. She likes to dress a little strange. She puts some high end fashion. So yeah, I mean, good for her. If that what makes her feel happy, go for it, Julia. I think every time I've met her, she's been very nice. But yeah, I think she also plays the game well. I mean, is she a full lesbian? Does she kind of? I always see her with this one person. I don't know which sex they are. That is they. Then I don't know what they are. So she hangs out in that crowd, but. We'll see if I'm sure pretty soon we will see her holding hands with a girl because she's very good setting up her own paparazzi shots.
We need to reach out to her again. Remember, she had said she was going to come on, and
she
then
didn't. I gotta. She follows me on TikTok too. I gotta reach out to her.
We should try to get her on. I mean, listen. Every time she does something, people pick it up. We need to just ask her a bunch of questions. Come on.
We should ask her about her, how the lesbian stuff's going out. Let's tell her we're a lesbian Hollywood Raw. It's actually it's called Lesbian Hollywood Raw. Would you want to come to the podcast? And maybe we have a better chance of her coming on.
Maybe do it.
I don't know. Dax, number 4.
Number 4, the big story this week, Alec Baldwin and his trial has officially kicked off. This whole involuntary manslaughter trial for the cinematographer of Rust being shot and killed by him. He was the one holding the gun in his hands at the time. He was a producer on the movie, but they had started off with the opening statements, and very much the prosecution is pointing fingers directly at him and saying that it was his reckless behavior on set that violated the cardinal rules of firearm safety, pointing a gun at a person and pulling the trigger. There's evidence to show that the firearm was in perfect order and did not malfunction. And so the prosecution in their opening statement said, when someone plays make-believe with a real gun in a real-life workplace, and while playing make-believe with the gun that violates the cardinal rules, people's lives are in danger and someone could be killed. The evidence will show you that someone who played make-believe with a real gun basically is the defendant, Alexander Baldwin. Listen, again, I think this is a very fascinating case. This one, I have a hard time saying that he is 100% at fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there are so many incidents or situations where there should have been 7 people before him that had checked the gun or had made sure it was a prop or whatever. I don't know. I feel very conflicted, and how much I dislike Alec Baldwin, but I have a hard time blaming him for her death.
Yeah, I still don't understand why we're not Alec Baldwin people clearly, but I still have an issue why he's still being pulled into this. Now, granted, he is a producer on this film. However, who knows if he has a gun license? If he knows how to work a gun. You would think
it should have been a prop. At the end of the day, this should have been a goddamn prop handed to him. Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Like, why is there even a real gun on set at all? It is a movie. When you do a movie with knives, you don't give them actual knives. You do prop knives that are, not as sharp. They look good, but they're not as sharp. Like, how did a gun make it on set? And why, if he is acting, why did it get into his hands in the first place? I don't know.
So Dax, why is this going on? Like, why? Obviously it's a sad, terrible situation. A life was lost. However, not even saying however, with that said, is this a money grab of some sort? Like, I'm sure there's been insurance companies paying out, but why do we keep pressing this? I mean, I feel like it's sort of like we know who's at fault here.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't understand why this is being drawn out so much.
I think people want to find someone to blame, and I know that there has been some other people that have already been sentenced, you know what I'm saying, or not sentenced, but found culpable, which is the person, the armoire or whatever for the movie. They were already in trouble. So like, I don't know. People also just want to see celebrities go down at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And I think maybe some ways this could be a political thing. You know, he's been Alec Baldwin's been a very outspoken person about things in politics, and someone might not have the same opinions as him. I don't know. I think it's just a very weird thing that this is going out so long. Again, we are not Alec Baldwin people. However, in this certain circumstance, I'm like, it's just sad. It sucks. And
I feel like I'm also, maybe I need to know more about the case in all honesty, and like really dive deep into why are they accusing him? Why would they say that this is his fault? I just don't know. Okay, let's move on.
Number 3, Dex.
Number 3, Britney Spears. Her and her boyfriend broke up, but her brother is now moving in with her. So if you've been following her on social media, she went off on her ex-boyfriend, Paul Soltz. They called their relationship quits about a month ago after she came to the realization that he was just kind of riding her coattails, which I'm like, shocker, Britney. Like, what did you think was going to happen here? You know, she basically said that she realized her former maintenance worker turned boyfriend was using her for her luxurious lifestyle. Yeah, you basically gave him the dream life, going from like working in your garden to becoming your boyfriend and going to Vegas and getting to live this life he never lived. Of course, like, what are you talking about? But she ripped him apart, saying that he was basically tipping off paparazzi to get photos of them, and that she was riding shotgun and crying, and he rolled down the window, and basically when paparazzi were out there and using her for clout. Yeah. But the bigger part of the story is that her brother is now living with her, which I think I'm hoping is a good thing. I keep saying who in her life is actually going to watch out for her well-being. I'm hoping that is her brother, rather than just some weird Klingon friend or, a gardener that she has met. I'm hoping that her brother becomes that more stable person, and maybe he is the conduit to the rest of the family, because Britney, I think, needs people around her that don't just want her for her money, want, a true relationship with her.
Yeah, I didn't tell you, Dex, because this week I had some time. I was trying to reach out to people to see if they'd come on the podcast. I reached out to this guy to see if he'd come on the podcast, the ex-boyfriend.
The ex? Oh.
Yeah. I was like, hey, man, like, why don't you get a point? He's probably like, hey, pay me. I mean, this guy's not stupid. He's probably like, hey, pay me and I'll tell you what's going on with Britney. And somebody I would think would pay him. Some UK outlet might throw him $2,500. I think for $2,500 he would do his first interview.
No, someone will pay him some good money because it's ratings. Anything with Britney equals ratings.
Do you think he signed an NDA?
Probably. I would hope that someone close to her is smart enough to throw an NDA at him, knowing everything she is probably the one person that really needs NDAs surrounding her. Here's
the thing with Britney, though. When you look at this guy, I don't want to say nothing about how the guy looks, but if but based on first look at this guy, you got to imagine there's something going on with Britney. Yeah, wait, Britney's with this guy? Yeah, something's wrong with Britney because she's still Britney Spears.
Sam was a good-looking dude.
Sam was a great-looking guy. And then you go from Sam and Sam seemed pretty sane, nice guy. Sam to this guy, you have to imagine. Listen, he could be a nice guy, but there is a lot of other nice people out there. So I think you have to start to question what's going on after you see the guy.
Yeah.
Dax, number 2.
Number 2, Sharon Stone coming to Kevin Spacey's defense. This is not the first time she's come to his defense, but she is basically saying people need to forgive him and let him move on with his life, let him re-enter Hollywood. And she has backed him a couple times, but really, really going this time. She's like, people are mad at me. People are mad at me for backing him up, but she's like, what I said after being in therapy for 7 years and not being able to work, he has now lost his home, he's lost everything, he should be allowed to come back. She continued, he's reached out to everyone he's offended and he said he's sorry. Kevin grabbed people by their genitals, many people, but no one he has said that he has raped them or forced them into a sexual encounter. She said that there's been numerous men that have grabbed her by her genitals and never have been forced to apologize to her or lost their role in Hollywood. And she's like, he's lost literally everything. He has no house anymore. Like, let the guy come back. So I don't know. What are you think that's...
First off, do you think Sharon Stone is going to get a lot of shit for coming out and being outspoken about Kevin Spacey?
I would say yes, but if you look back at the case, like all of his cases, he's like kind of been acquitted of. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the crazy part about this whole Kevin Spacey thing. Like, every time he's gone to court, he's kind of won. And yet he has still been canceled. And she's like, the reason that he's been canceled because it's man on man situations. And even though he was like let go of all the charges each time, the world is not forgiving him.
Do you think also at the time he wasn't like publicly gay, so that kind of hurt? If we knew he was gay, it'd be one thing, but we never knew he was gay, so it came off a lot more kind of darker.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah,
I don't know. But he did get canceled like really quickly, and now that I look back, I'm like thinking, okay, in my mind, he was accused of all these things. But then when you look at it, you're like, but he got, these charges were dropped and these charges were dropped. And this one, didn't go through the court. So I'm like, I don't even know what he did at this point. He grabbed people or did he not? Or, because he was acquitted of everything.
So his first interview was with Piers Morgan, which was a surprise, but not a surprise because he can't go on the Today Show. He can't do Good Morning America because they would get.
Oh, why?
He's canceled, and it's weird how it's just what it is these days. People work in fear, and they don't want to make themselves a liability, and they don't want to get they don't want to be associated.
Backlash.
They don't want to get the backlash. It's just how it is, and it's sad and it's weird. Do I think Kevin Spacey should get another shot? I think he did all. Did he serve time? No, but I feel like he's went through hell and back. I do believe in second chances. I think he apologized to the victims. I mean, I don't know what else he could do. It was like when Kevin Spacey did that interview with Piers Morgan, he was like, I can't find work, and part of me was like, go act, go on Broadway, go do some shows.
You then need someone to believe in you.
Yeah. And he's an incredible actor.
You still need someone to give you that chance. So we'll see.
Yeah,
only time will tell. So, sometimes it really is time heals all, and maybe someday someone will give him a shot again.
We'll see. Dax, the number one story of the week.
I can't believe you made this the number one story of the week. Pete Davidson and Madeleine Klein have split after nearly a year of dating. There was a source close to the former Saturday Night Live star who exclusively told The Sun that Pete's relationship has fizzled out and that it was a very amicable split, that there's no resentment, but he's also just become a really reclusive guy these days. Like, apparently to the story, he hangs out a lot in his apartment, just kind of watches TV, doesn't go out. If he has a set, will leave, go right home, and he's trying to stay away from like that nightlife. He's done, rehab a couple times to basically keep himself clean and sober, but he is not looking to be in the spotlight anymore. He's had very public relationships, and I think that's kind of taken a toll on him.
Well, Dax, you might be giving me shit about why is this the number one story of the week. Number one, what we always say goes to the Google search and the data. Number two, we broke the story. So so that's part of it. But honestly, people care about it. I actually said to the head of the New York Post, I go, guys, you guys do so many stories on Pete Davidson. They're like, people are interested. People are curious. People click on him. So he's back to being single. They haven't been seen together for a while. I don't know. I haven't seen him. I guess people are curious through what state he's in, not which actual physical state, what mental state he's in. But based on his record, I don't think he'll have an issue. You just don't see him. He's very good. Like when you don't want to be seen, you can get away with not being seen.
100%. What's crazy is that they dated for almost a year. Like in my mind, like he was still with Suzuki or whatever her name was. What was the last girlfriend's name?
The girlfriend. They did that movie Neighbors or something together.
Literally, I feel like they were just together, and the whole car accident that they were in. Like, how has he already been with another girl for a whole year? I don't get it.
Yeah, I got to look at his LinkedIn of all the girls he's been with. It's pretty impressive. I mean, it's just interesting, you know. And I wonder what kind of girl he ends up with. I think here's my prediction on Pete. My prediction is he's going to get married in the next 2.5 years.
You think?
Yeah, I think he wants to settle down and have a kid. That's just my opinion. I feel like that's what he'd want. I feel like that's like the ending of the story. He settles down with a girl who's like somewhat normal, maybe from Staten Island, gets married and has a kid.
Okay.
That's my prediction. But we'll see if that comes true. Thank you guys for watching the Hollywood Raw podcast. If you're watching on Red Coral, Red Coral is a great streaming site. Check out Red Coral, put in Hollywood Raw. It's a good place to check out the Hollywood Raw podcast. If you want to see the video, you can watch on YouTube, but you can listen on any platform from Spotify to Apple Podcasts. Make sure you leave a review. Check out our private Facebook group called Off the Record. Follow me at Adam Glyn. Follow Dax Holt at Dax Holt. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Guys, hope you liked that video. We got a lot more where that came from.
Hit that bell, like, subscribe, share with a friend. The best you can do to support us is really doing that. And we really need the money because we need hair gel.